Okay.
34 sounds familiar.
Yeah.
Mhm. Something has gone wrong somewhere.
What? You're not able to see?
I'm only seeing Lina's face now. I don't know what I clicked. Sorry, give me a second.
Oh, you are recording it, right? Oh, we can
Yeah, I know, but I'm not
pause
able
the
to see the
recording.
voices. Just give me.
Let me stop share and let me restart. Okay. So share screen. That should be the one. Are you able to see it now?
Yeah, I think I am able to see now. Yeah. Okay. I think best not to fiddle too much.
Okay.
Otherwise, it just messes up the whole thing.
Yes.
Yeah. Like suddenly it was Lina's face full blown on my screen. I was like, what? Where are my voices gone? All right.
Yeah, sorry about that.
No, you don't have to be. It is me. I must have clicked something. Okay. So we were on 34, right? Understand the true nature of that knowledge by approaching illumined soul. If you prostrate at their feet, render them service and question them with an open and guileless heart. Those wise seers of truth will instruct you in that knowledge. So, knowledge is very important, actually. I mean, and today only I was listening to one of the videos where Acharya was saying that knowledge has become a tainted word now. Actually, the knowledge word, you must be very proud if you have knowledge, or you're supposed to be honored if you have some knowledge. But unfortunately, the knowledge has become a tainted word because people are just very knowledgeable. And why it has become a tainted word? Because the one who has the knowledge remains very cerebral. The knowledge has not become the part of their life. It is not flowing through their veins. They are not breathing that knowledge. So what becomes is they are just very knowledgeable, but there is nothing admirable about them because they're not living that knowledge. So it just becomes sort of information. So they're
Like a
carrying a lot of
commodity?
information.
Like a
Yeah.
commodity?
Yeah. And it is a very unfortunate part when the knowledge turns out, or knowledge sort of becomes like a commodity. Yes, sir.
I think first of all, knowledge is spelled with a capital K. So we are talking of Brahm Vidya here. We are not talking of Avidya.
No,
So
we are
if
not.
so if we kind of just discuss a little bit the two types of knowledge, the one that is worldly knowledge, and the the one that with is capitalized K, the Brahma Vidya, the Vidya and Avidya. What is happening today is that people do not know this distinction, and keeping the ego center intact, they are actually using the Vidya, the real knowledge, almost down to bringing it down to the level of the avidya, the normal knowledge, and then using that not to dissolve their ego, but rather to enhance their ego.
Right.
And it is actually a misuse of knowledge. And to be honest, if a person is doing that if I can say, then they have not really gotten that knowledge. They have just got that, as you said, information. They have collected words, but they don't understand the meaning, because the knowledge, real vidya, the one with capital K, the very nature is such. If you understand it, then you cannot be there. It will dissolve you.
Right. Right. Yeah, so there are two kinds of knowledge. The one is vidya, and another one is avidya. So vidya is, first we can talk about avidya. What is avidya? Avidya is all the worldly knowledge, which tells us about the world. So all these different faculties like physics, chemistry, biology, maths, geography, history, all of that, the languages, all this knowledge which tells us more about this world, that is avidya. And in India, most of the institutes are called vidyalaya. So vidyalayas are like the institutes which impart knowledge. And vidyalaya, that means like
House of knowledge.
house of knowledge. So they are kind of saying that they are teaching vidya to the students, but in fact, according to the Upanishads, according to this supreme knowledge, it is not vidya, it is avidya. It tells us about the world. So then what is vidya actually? What is vidya? Vidya is a knowledge which tells you about yourself. All that knowledge which takes you to your real self, the knowledge of self, is vidya. So when we say self, we do not mean the knowledge of Atma or Brahma or something like, because Atma or Brahma, you cannot know. So there is no knowledge to which will take you to Brahma or Atma. So what is that knowledge that will illuminate you? The knowledge of your own mind, the mechanism of your mind, the nature of your ego, the nature of Maya. All these inside knowledge is called Vidya. So more you know the nature of Prakriti, Maya, the ego, the central eye tendencies, your chances of knowing the self enhances, because you'll be cutting the darkness within you with that knowledge. And that is the whole idea, that when you have this knowledge, all that darkness, all those myths and mazes within you, they will be hacked down with that knowledge. It's a very razor sharp knowledge. I mean, if you are really getting it, then there is no way you can remain the same with this knowledge. You cannot and this knowledge can also be, and we have seen it when people just listen to this knowledge without having a slightest intention to use it or implement in their life. And when that kind of tendency you have, then the knowledge becomes like a burden. It becomes, you'll be very knowledgeable, and you'll be able to boast of this knowledge. You would look very intelligent and intellectual around people, because you'll be talking about all these extraordinarily deep concepts. But when somebody looks at your life remains the same, and that is the indication that the knowledge has really not gone to the core. You're not living it. Yes, sir.
And just to complete your thought first, is that when you do that, you are actually doing yourself a disservice, because your suffering continues. So, who are you fooling? Yourself. The point that that one also came to my mind. I was listening to Acharyaji's discourse today. I think I forwarded that to you too. It was just an audio from 2013. And he was talking about kalpana, imaginations,
All right.
facts, and then truth. And he said most of us just live in imaginations. So facts are important. So you should, for 90% of the people, the real thing is that you have to move from the imaginations, fantasies to facts.
Two facts.
So if fact is that sun is shining, that is the example he gave. There is no truth in this. Sun is shining. It's a fact. So first of all, you have to come to that. Science is getting to facts. Science is very good at getting at facts. They are very objective in that. The truth will begin when you will start questioning that sun exists for whom. It is because of me that sun exists. If I am sleeping, then there is no sun. If I don't look that way, then there is no sun. Sun is shining for whom? So when you start getting that into that point, when you go beyond facts, then you are entering, rather than entering, then you are getting closer to the truth. And then
It's a little subtle thing. Let me explain, Lina. So the sun, and you would say that, yeah, it is a truth actually. I mean, sun does exist. So sun exists for people like us. We are three-dimensional because the construction of our brain is three-dimensional. So all those objects in the sky you see, they appear to us in a certain way because of the third three-dimensional nature of our brain. Suppose the brain was not configured that way, they would have appeared to us in a different way, because we cannot say that what the sun is for us is the same for the ant or for the dog or for some other animal. Everybody's brain's configuration is different. So the reality is different for each organism, and they might exist materially in, we do not know. I mean, we have the limitation of the three dimension. So you cannot, I mean, that is a reality for us, for this brain. But is it the truth? So we cannot say. I mean, we can only come to the facts of the thing. Okay, this is a fact for this organism, but we cannot enter the domain of the truth. So and truth is, I think in that video he also said that it's not necessary that somebody who is living by truth, truth is not something objective. It is not based on another object. Like, so you know the truth of the sun or the moon or the sky. It is not like that. You can live in truth, but the truth is not for some object. You can live in the truth. So these two things are different. So somebody who is living in the truth, he probably might not know all the facts also. And it is mathematically, it is impossible that he would know all the facts of the world. That's not possible. So there is a possibility that the man who is living by the truth, he might not know or might not be aware of a lot of facts. It is very much possible. But for the ordinary brain, if they want to move to the truth, they should start from moving away from the false. And how can you move away from the false? How can you move away from the imagination world? You move towards the facts. That will be our first hop. And from once you start seeing the things as they are, then at least you have moved away from the imagination world. And that itself is a big jump in somebody's lifetime. It's a bigger jump because people don't see things for what they are. People see things as per their imagination. I might look at somebody and I already have an opinion about that person. So I'm not actually seeing that person. I am seeing that person from the lens of my own opinion about him. I'm not seeing him. And that happens to most of us and many of us. It is not only limited to the people. It can be extrapolated to so many different objects in the world. Somebody will look at a diamond. From diamond, I just remember one of the incidences just recently, because I'll be traveling to India and my brother-in-law was asking me that there is a have you heard about Kohinoor diamond? A Kohinoor diamond used to belong to India. Now it was stolen by the British from India, and now it sits on the crown of Queen Elizabeth. So I'm not sure if she's wearing that crown, or that crown is probably a part of their museum, the British Museum. But there has been a lot of talks between the Indian government and the British government, and as a good gesture, Indians have always asked that the diamond belonged to India. I mean, you guys just stole it from us, and they have their own stand. They said, I mean, you can't say that we have stolen from you, but I mean, that is something like, we are proud of our ancestors. They earned it. So we are just going to keep it. So they are not on the same page, but those discussions are going on. So my brother-in-law, he wanted me to take a look at one of the diamonds he was showing me. Like, okay, then I said, okay, what about this diamond? He was saying, oh, you must have seen a lot of diamonds, but this is a square diamond, and it's coming from the same mine as that diamond, that Kohinoor diamond. Doesn't make much difference to me, because diamonds are worthless for me. What I'm going to do with that? I mean, it's not of any use to me. First thing, it's not a show-off thing for me. I don't really care. I don't wear anything. And it does not matter. She was saying we are really getting it for very cheap. I mean, I said, whether it is even free of cost, still it has no meaning for me. I would rather donate that money to some good cause than spending it on the diamond. And so he was not able to understand my reaction. But see the difference here, that my take on the diamond is totally different from his take, because for them, diamond means a very precious stone. And it means a lot to have a diamond in the family and stuff like that. And he was saying, no, but you, like few years back, you came when you bought a diamond ring for your wife. I said, that was few years back. A lot of things have changed. And I don't think my wife also is interested in the diamonds anymore. She was 4 years back. And that's the time when I bought that. But that ring is sitting in our closets, and she has hardly touched it ever. So the point was, the object is the same, but the reaction to the same object could be like different, and based on where people are in their life, they will be looking at those objects differently. And that's what actually happens when you are using that knowledge to cut that darkness within you, and make sure that I wouldn't call it a lens, but yeah, maybe it is a lens. It's a tainted lens. From that tainted lens, we look at those objects because we already have certain opinion, certain belief about those objects. And once you start seeing a particular object through that lens, you will have different reactions. You probably might feel elated, you might feel depressed, you might feel extremely joyful, you might have all kind of emotions based on your lens. And that is not the fact. That is, now you are going away from the fact. You're not looking the thing what it is.
Clinically,
Yeah. So you are moving away from the fact, and that's exactly, we are living on a very low level when those kind of reactions come through us. And most of us, we are not even aware of them. We don't even catch it. Oh, it is happening to me. Even if you could catch it in the moment, that, okay, all right, you have a tainted reaction. That itself is a growth. Acharya ji is saying that even come to that point that you caught yourself, okay, you had a very elated reaction to a certain object for no reason, and you are absolutely clueless why it is happening. But now you caught yourself that it is happening, and I might need to take a look at it, why it happened like that. Even that awareness will clear a lot of maze within. Can start from there. Yes, Vikramji, you have something to say.
So just to summarize what I'm thinking, what I'm kind of gathering from the discussion is that, first of all, try to see the phenomenon, your reactions, your events, happenings around you in the most objective way possible. Try to keep your ego out of it. See things, because see, again, fact is that diamond, I mean, chemically, you can go down to the core of the structure and say these are carbon atoms in this fashion. Now that will become fact. Fact, again, see, fact is also based upon certain criteria. Science gives us that criteria in a good way, because most of the methods they evolve are objective, in the sense they are not dependent on the opinion. They are based upon certain laws which are universally applicable. So what really is a fact is also actually more of a discussion point. But
no, when I say fact, right, I mean, I don't mean that you have to critically analyze a particular object, go in the details of the science, or up to the molecules and the atoms and stuff like that. The fact of the matter is like that, that matter should not have any special meaning in your head. If you could just see it like, okay, this is just a stone. What's so special about it? Just a shining stone. I don't know the chemical composition. I probably do not know whether it is made up of carbon and stuff like that. I don't know nothing about it. I just know that it's a shining stone, and humanity is blinded for so many thousands of years now. They've been valuing that shiny stone as something very precious, but the fact of the matter is just a stone.
So the core of discussion that comes down to what you value, and that basically means that clinging,
That value,
relationship
that added value you put in your brain, that takes you away from the fact.
from the truth and from the fact. Yes.
Yeah. So you have to at least come to that point that it is no special thing, and maybe it is for the humanity, but it is not very. So it is not something very special for you. The moment it has some impact on your mind, that it is changing the way you look at it, and then your reaction towards it. I suppose you suddenly found a diamond and now you have fear. Oh, I don't want to lose it now. I want to hold on to it. I have to reach home and probably I have to find a bank where I can put this thing in the locker. Now, those kind of reactions suddenly come to you because somewhere in the subconscious you have that value, or maybe the value society has given, you are also unconsciously borrowed that value now, and you're carrying that value. And now you think it means something special. So it is changing the way you react, it's changing the way you operate around that object. And that's when that you are living from the state of imagination.
Away from the truth. Yes.
Mhm.
In fact, that can be used as an alarm, as an indicator that you need to examine your inner self.
Right.
The moment you see the moment something feels special,
Mhm.
or in some way you feel like related, or it arouses some sort of desire in you that I wish I had that diamond or something, that can be used as a trigger. And that actually reminds me of Acharyaji's another video where he says that if you think from this perspective, then this world that we live in, that Maya is a great device
Mhm.
to constantly keep you reminding that, because there are so many attractions. These attractions are not to take you away, but they are actually pointers that you can use to get towards the truth. So they are actually helping you in your journey.
Of course they are.
They are there to help you, not to take you away from the journey.
Because the test of the Maya, it just Maya, the level of the test, it keeps upgrading.
Mhm.
So if you have overcome a certain state, then the next test from Maya will be a little bit higher than the previous one. And that's how you would know where you stand. Maya keeps you, I always tell Anisa that Maya has a lot of hooks. She will be throwing those hooks to pull you. And she will keep tempting you with different hooks. And then maybe one or the other hook will always catch you. And you will be like off guard probably, and you just do not know what happened. And then the next thing you know that, okay, you are totally caught up in the Maya. So yeah, it's if you are up for the game, Maya is there to play with you to the eternity.
The game will continue.
The game will continue. Yeah.
The game was on, the game will remain on. The only thing you can do is you can get out of the game. Or rather, I should not even say get out of the game, but rather you can become a distant observer of the game. You can
Yeah,
become
but
detached from the game.
Maya will always come up with some
New.
extraordinary, I would not say plan, but extraordinary
Tactics?
method to come around in a certain way, and then she would always get you. So you have to be humble and never be cocky that you have figured out Maya, because Maya will surprise you when you expect the least.
And that is why I think in the verse it says, if you prostrate at their feet, render them service and question them with an open and guileless, whichever pronunciation, heart, those wise ears of truth will instruct you in that knowledge. And the whole thing is that if you prostrate, I mean, I think beyond that, everything else is, because see that if you are talking of the truth, the truth is dimensionally different. So the important thing is that you prostrate, you bow down. The so-called ego, this you is actually the ego. So
Yeah.
the very process of bowing down to something which is dimensionally different, something about which you cannot say anything, and have the faith, that is Shraddha, that, whatever. So that is critical. The instruction part may come, may not come. Important thing is, do you bow down?
Yeah. You can read that.
Of course, you don't bow down to material things.
Vikramji, you can read that. We can go over that.
Which one?
No, I think we already read this, right? So he's saying, if you prostrate at their feet, render them service, and question them with an open and guileless heart. Guileless heart, the heart which is innocent, which is having no deceit or anything like that. It's a humble heart which is hoping to be illumined. So that kind of heart, when prostrating in front of the master, the wise seers of truth will instruct you in that knowledge, and you be open. You be open to the knowledge. What do you mean by open to the knowledge? That you need to be willing to drop the already accumulated knowledge. Don't be under the impression that you already know this or that. Most of us, we have this already accumulated knowledge, which actually interferes with the knowledge which is coming from the master, because that knowledge will keep on analyzing, judging, and stuff like that. So that knowledge always interferes, and that knowledge does not let the real knowledge to seep in. So that's why he says guileless heart. What is that guileless heart? Is like absolutely innocent heart, just like a child. When Jesus says, in the kingdom of God, those who have the heart of the who are the heart of the child, they will enter. So he could have said that only the children could have entered, but he's not saying that children can enter. Somebody who has a heart like a child. And there is a difference. There is a very subtle thing. I mean, you might think, oh, he's talking about the kid, so we have to become like a kid. No, you don't have to become. With all your wisdom and knowledge, your heart needs to be just like a child who's so innocent, who's ready to take any instruction. He's not he's ready to be molded. A child is so innocent. So your knowledge and wisdom should take you to the point where you are absolutely surrendered to the truth, where you can receive that knowledge without any interference from from your end. And it is going to be a process. It is not going to happen just overnight, because we are so used to thinking that we are the smart ones. So it's not going to be an overnight thing. But we can start from the point where we see that our already existing knowledge is interfering, and it is kind of debating within, and there is nothing wrong in debating, but the debate should take you somewhere. The debate should be in it should take you to the point where you are able to see the flaws in your because pre-existing knowledge, when gets into conflict with the pure knowledge, eventually the pre-existing knowledge is going to be hacked down. It is going to be it will be cut through. But the thing is, if it is not open, then it becomes hardened, and it doesn't let the real knowledge work its magic. It just blocks it. It becomes so adamant and so cocky. It will just shut the door. It will say, no, I don't want to get in there, because I am suspecting that I might get killed here. So it likes to. So one needs to be brave enough to be absolutely chopped by the guru. The guru brave enough to offer your head to the guru, because guru would make sure that you are reborn again. So that is the guileless heart. Those wise seer of truth will instruct you in that knowledge. So a lot of qualities you need to have to get to that knowledge. It's not like a straight free pass that you decide, okay, all right, and now you are going to allow yourself to get instructed, and that instruction will just come through. No, it doesn't work that way. There's a lot. I had hard time actually. When I started, it was a hard time. I for some reason I did not know. I mean, it was on an unconscious level. It was happening. I was very adamant, and I was very. I was feeling that I'm probably getting manipulated. I was feeling that I'm just losing my own intelligence. I was thinking, or probably I'm not allowed to think, stuff like that. And there were a lot of fears also. I was very. And then there were certain images of somebody prostrating to Acharyaji, holding his feet and all that. That actually pissed me off totally. I was like, what the hell is this? I don't believe this. So.
Yeah, you logged out, I think.
Oh, no, I think the
internet.
The connection just lost a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, I actually forgot I was not recording it.
Yeah, my recording is going on.
Yeah, let me at least
So, so it took some time to get to the point where I was able to debate with Acharyaji, back and forth, the questionings, and I was open then that he might just bash me, he might just tell some very bitter truth, which I'm probably not prepared to be exposed to. But then at some point, you realize internally, very in the core of your heart, you realize that he has your best interest in his heart. And that's why he's saying all those mean things, even though they sound very mean, but they're not actually mean. They're actually good for you because you have become so pompous that you are so full of yourself that you are absolutely blind not to see the truth. So when somebody reaches to that point, then it becomes effortless. Then Guru says something and you absolutely soak it. And you become a guileless in the heart. That's when the guileless heart emerges within you, without any resistance, without any analysis, without any. I mean, you just see to it that whatever is being said is from the purest possible center, and it is for your own good. And then you actually see that in your thought process, in your behaviors, in your observation of the world, and the way you connect with other people. You see that is for you to see. So that's the meaning of that verse. Any questions so far? Lena, you have anything?
I mean, so far, so good. Thank you.
Vikramji, you have anything?
Mhm.
Go ahead, read it, Vikramji.
Arjuna, when you have achieved enlightenment, ignorance will delude you no more. In the light of that knowledge, you will see the entire creation first within your own self and then in me, the oversoul. Arjuna, when you have achieved enlightenment, ignorance will delude you no more. In the light of that knowledge, you will see the entire creation first within your own self, then in me.
Yeah.
What enlightenment are we talking about here?
Enlightenment is the illumination. Enlightenment is not some special event. Enlightenment is the ability to see the false as false and truth as truth. The enlightenment is the ability to discriminate between the real and the unreal. So that is the discrimination. So he's saying, Arjuna, when you have achieved enlightenment, ignorance will delude you no more. Then you will not be trapped by Maya. Maya will not be having the same hold on you as it has the hold on you right now. So that is enlightenment. Enlightenment is freedom from all the bondages, right? That's what it is. So what are the bondages actually? The bondages, they come from your tendencies, come from your DNA, come from the conditioning of the mind. And the conditioning of the mind actually makes Maya very powerful. More the mind is conditioned, more the Maya will be powerful. For some people, the Maya is not as powerful as it should be, because they have worked on their conditionings, and now their minds are not so conditioned as they used to be before. So now Maya will not have much to work with. The prerequisite for the Maya to work on you is the conditioning. More you are conditioned, more you are layered with a lot of beliefs and lot of ideas and lot of okay, it needs to be this way and it needs to be that way, and all kind of the all pre-existing opinions. it's very easy for Maya to operate. For Maya not to operate, you need to have a clean mind. And most of us, we resist having a clean mind. We understand that clean mind is really maybe an amazing thing. But when it comes to actually cleaning it, we resist. Because we have a lot of investment to all those ideas and to all those opinions we have, and we would like to hold on to them, and that's why we never get the clean mind. We continuously keep on operating on the same condition level, and that's why it's very easy for Maya to play with. If Maya is really acting on very effectively on you, it is a clear indication that your mind is extraordinarily layered, and you start looking into the depths of your mind and start cleaning it up. That's why Maya is like absolutely driving you crazy now.
One question comes to mind about the layers. You have to keep working on the layers, but there is, at the core, there is no final layer as such.
That's Acharya always keeps saying that why we jump onto that final layer. The moment that question arises, right, it is a mischief of the mind, not to work. We have to really catch that question. When people ask, is it really possible that all the bondages are broken? Is there any state like this? We don't understand this question. We don't understand the intention behind this question. When the mind poses this question, it is trick that it does not want to work on it. It wants to create an impossible situation where it might appear to you that, oh my God, that may not be even possible in this lifetime. So why to even get started? That is the trick. What is wrong with like what life we are living right now? Everything is going smooth. I'm going to the office. I'm doing my chores. I am taking care of my business. Why do I need to work on myself and create this mess, and for something which is not even might not be even possible in the whole lifetime? Why do even start that venture? That is the very smart question mind is posing to you, and we kind of fall into that trap. We're like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Why to even start that journey when it seems that the end might not even be possible in next 30-40 years?
Again, better late than never. I mean, you have to start somewhere. You have to make that choice and decision. If we don't choose, then we'll never know, right? But we have to make that choice.
Exactly.
And it's easy to kind of get up and caught up in the, everything's fine, everything's kind of working out anyways. But at the end of the day, it's not. So the same thing that we had been talking about earlier about climate change and whatnot. So a lot of people are like, well, it's not impacting me. I'm fine here.
Exactly. And that's why most of the people, they just don't even do the things which could make a huge difference. If a lot of people collectively do that much only, it can create a huge difference. Imagine like billions of people do the same small things, but we are just so lazy or we just probably are not very sensitive people. We just, right. Most of us. I mean, I talk to some people and they are like, oh yeah, I remember that one guy was saying there was one US senator who was fighting for this climate change or something like that, and he was saying that it was going to happen in 2010. Man, we are in 2021 and nothing really happened. And he was just like outrightly, he was trying to prove me wrong. That those kind of things are like hoax, man. Just don't go onto their websites and don't read that stuff, because that's not going to happen. Our Florida is safe. No tsunamis are ever going to come here. We are going to live here for another 60 years. Don't worry. I said, you already planned out 60 years. Like, you are damn sure that you're going to live that far.
And actually, Florida is actually, there's some communities in Florida that are already experiencing the very things that we're discussing. So how can they, not believe it to be true when, next door or whatever in the
They
Florida
choose not to
Keys.
believe. They
Exactly.
choose to believe.
It comes back to choice,
Because we choose what to see and what not to see in the world. And there are certain things which make us uncomfortable and probably start pushing us from our already held on beliefs. And that could be a very shaky situation. So people don't want to get in there. They just want to keep dreaming and live in their very sweet sleep. That's what I'm saying. Those are the people who do not want to work on their layers at all. And we do not want to be one of them.
What is the meaning that you will see the entire creation first within your own self as capital, and then in me, the oversoul?
The entire creation is talking about the world, right? The creation, what is created outside? The creation is of the world. So we have created this world, and I think we have talked about this before, that our world is limited to our own creation, and our creation is based on our relationship to the objects.
But that world exists in mind, not in a small self. Is this a typo? I mean, how could anything exist in Atman?
No, he's not talking about the Atman. He's not talking about Atman. When he's saying that own self, he's talking about the consciousness only.
Jivatma.
Consciousness. See, when he's saying own self, self means consciousness here. Of course, that self will become the real self when you purify it. That consciousness, when you actually purify the consciousness becomes the awareness. Those are the basics, right? Don't move away from the basics. Acharya ji was trying to tell me the same thing the last time. Alok ji, get back to the basics. What did I teach you? So the consciousness, let me explain again, maybe again. So we think like consciousness is one. I think those ideas are floating around. Consciousness is one and stuff like that. Actually, as many people there are, as many living beings are there are as many consciousnesses around. And the difference between the consciousness, that only defines how evolved a person is. Now, what is consciousness? Consciousness is the expanse of the inner world. Consciousness is the expanse of the inner world. And now, what is the inner world? Inner world is the world of objects which you have relationship with. So Lina's expanse of the world will be the world of objects who Lina is related to. The objects of my world will not be the part of Lina's world and will not be the part of Vikramji. So that world defines your consciousness, how impure it is. As many objects in that world you are holding on to or you are attached to, that decides the purity level of your consciousness. More the objects in that world you are attached to, more impure your consciousness is. You getting there, Vikramji? Are you getting it, what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
So the process, the work we are doing is to purify that consciousness. And we are trying to minimize those number of objects we are holding on to. Extremely polluted consciousness will be the one which is extremely sticky. The moment there is an object, it holds on to that object. The moment there is an object in that consciousnness, it immediately clings on to it. It immediately wants to hold on to it. It wants to, because it is, and that kind of consciousness is a very insecure consciousness. Like it absolutely, why it operates that way? Because this consciousness feels that filling it up with the worldly objects, it is going to start feeling full. That fullness never comes. But it keeps on accumulating objects in the consciousness, and it goes to that level where the consciousness becomes extremely polluted. It does not even have room. The consciousness is holding on to the objects which it does not even know how many objects it has. You can imagine a situation where you have so much of stuff in your garage. Now you totally lost track of what you have, but you want to hold on to everything because your mind is telling you, oh, you'd never know what something could be useful sometime. So you want to hold on to it, and you don't even have a time to go and look at it. You don't even, the same thing with goes, people keep collecting the photos from so many other places, so many different places, and their hard disks are full for 20 years, and probably in this lifetime they are never going to look at those photos again. And they keep on, and they don't really have the guts to even delete them or like free up the space. So this is how the consciousness, the extremely impure consciousness, it keeps doing that. It keeps on adding more stuff, and it keeps holding on to the stuff which it already has accumulated. So that's the impure consciousness. So he's saying that in the light of that knowledge, you will see the entire creation. Whatever creation you created inside world, you will be able to see with that knowledge. You will be able to discriminate between what is real and what is unreal, and what is it you do not need to hold on to. You would be able to create that space. More the space, purer
More the
is
peace.
more the space.
Yeah, but if we have more space, then we'll have more peace.
You will have less trouble.
So more peace, maybe.
Of course, you are moving one step closer to the peace. Yes.
Okay.
You are right.
Just
And then it comes to the point where you can actually count the objects on your finger, like, okay, maybe 1, 2, 3, maybe these. Yeah. And then other than that, you doesn't really matter to you. Somebody gives you a diamond or the or the gold or anything, and it does not matter to you. You are like, okay, all right, don't worry about it, don't even bother, because nothing really, you have no desire to hold on. You have actually lost the desire to hold on, because you have understood that any object in the world holding on is not going to give you any peace or any satisfaction. More, it is going to only create troubles for you, but it is not going to take you to the peace. On the contrary, it will take you away from your peace. And more the objects, more the trouble is.
So it's kind of like decluttering. I mean, you can declutter your physical space, but you also have to declutter the space, period.
Exactly. How people clean up their clutter, they clean up their closets. Some people in some, when there is a Christmas time or some other time, the people start cleaning up their houses, something like that. That you, these kind of consciousnesses who are moving towards light, they operate in certain way that they constantly keep on cleansing what might be there already. At the same time, they operate in such a way that they don't accumulate more. So they are not holding on to anything. So they are not bringing something and making some kind of association with that object and hold on to it. And hypothetically, I'm saying that a yogi comes to the point where he does not have any object in his consciousness. Now, maybe he has cleaned up the whole house, all the rooms, everything he has cleaned up, and he has opened the door also. Now there is no door to his. So what happens when there is no door to the consciousness? Now he's not closing, he's not even bothering to close or open, and he's not even doing that stuff. So what happens now is all the material objects in the world, they start flowing in. The whole world can come in the consciousness of the yogi. But the beauty about his consciousness is that even though he has the whole world in his consciousness, he's not holding on to even one object. So the objects come and go. They just keep flowing, but nobody is staying there. And that's how our Acharyaji is operating right now. He's talking to thousands and thousands of people. He's taking all their crap in. When they're talking to him, he's taking all the crap in. Because his doors are open. So the crap can come in very easily. But the moment his response is over, that crap goes out. And again, the free space for the next questioner to bring another next crap. He will bring another crap inside. He will process it, he'll give it back, everything flushed out, and he is ready for the next one. So this is how he's operating. So his consciousness is open now and so pure that it's not holding on to anything. So there is a possibility that you might have asked a question, and probably you might remind him that he said something like that, and he probably would not even remember what he told you. It happens many times. So consciousness becomes so unclingy that it does not even want to cling to the memories. It might remember very basic things, but most of the stuff from the world it would not remember. Just those basic things which are important to move around in the world. Like Acharyaji would remember where he has which year he was born probably, or what is his father's name, or what is his name, stuff like that. Just good enough for to move around in the world. But he might not remember what he told Alok ji, or what he told Vikram ji, or it does not matter. There is no guarantee that he would not remember always. He might also remember sometime, but there is no guarantee that he would and he should. Yeah. So consciousness, it operates on a very, it has a very different quality when it comes to that point. It loses its ability to hold on to anything, and that's one of the best things. Yeah, because there is no baggage of
any kind.
Yeah, not any kind. Yeah, I mean, you are not carrying any ugly memories, but at the same time, you are also not carrying any beautiful memories. You are absolutely free. That's the purest form of consciousness.
If I ever get there, I can't wait for all
Yeah.
of that. That would be very nice.
And then it says that within your own self, and then in me. There is nothing supernatural about this. When your consciousness is so pure to see everything within you, right, Vikramji, you would be able to see other people also, just like a open book. You'll be able to see. And if he's saying then in me, and that me is capital, then you can also conclude that the spotless consciousness is Vishuddha Chetana. The spotless consciousness is Vishuddha Chetana. That means absolutely pure consciousness. Absolutely pure consciousness is equivalent to awareness. So when he said then in me, that means you are just identical to living in truth. Because you're living with awareness now, complete awareness, pure awareness, or maybe awareness is pure. I mean, you can, that will be redundant to say pure awareness. Awareness means purity, but consciousness can be impure, so we can use the word pure consciousness. So you are living with pure consciousness. That means you are living in awareness. The concepts are getting clear. Even if you were the most sinful of all the sinners, this knowledge alone would carry you like a raft across all your sins. When we say sins, sin basically is ignorance. There is no such thing as sin. People do all kind of crazy things in ignorance only. If they knew something was right, they wouldn't have done that. It is just in ignorance. People do crazy stuff, and then they end up calling it, and the world calls it sin. But basically that person was ignorant. He was blind. Somebody was asking Osho, do you have to suffer or do you have to go to hell for the sins you have committed? And Osho says, all those sins, what you call the sins, those are the mistakes, or those are the actions which were done in blindness, in ignorance, in your drunkard state. and you cannot be accountable or responsible for those because you were drunkard. If your eyes were open, you wouldn't have done that. But unfortunately, your eyes, you were blindfolded, and on top of that, you were drunk. So that means your soul do not have to suffer for that. Like, or it's not like there is some kind of hell. You have to keep spinning in that loop. There is no such thing. The moment your eyes are open, you are free of all those sins. Not in the world sense. I mean, if somebody has committed a murder, of course the law is going to punish that person. If somebody committed a heinous crime like rape or something, the law will punish it. But if that somebody gets illuminated with this knowledge, he will be free from the self-denouncing and the the blame game or the guilt. He will be free of that. He will be free of that because consciousness, the pure consciousness, do not carry anything. No matter what you do in your life, you always have the purity at your core is never touched. Everything is on a very outside level, or maybe on a superficial level. Everything is outside. It depends like how close you bring particular thing to. Like, you probably might be holding on to some mistakes in your life, in your deep consciousness, and then you might start even believing that I might never be able to free of them. But it is just a myth, actually. Once you are illumined by this knowledge, you are free of all those sins, like externally also and internally also. Of course, the law is not going to pardon you just because you are illuminated, but in your mind, you are clear. It's a spotless mind. Vikram, do you have anything there?
Basically, what the verse means to me is that the baggage can be dropped through illumination, because all this blame game,
self-guilt,
and Christianity puts it like basically, confession, etc., is all about to pardon for the sins. They have a method of doing that in Christianity.
I'm not saying that is wrong. I'm not saying, see,
No.
those times, those things came into existence, and over the period of time when we have gone through so many thousands of years now, we've seen how that kind of system works. Has it really helped so many people or not, or what exactly has happened? Once a particular thing comes into a certain process, then the end result will decide whether that process is really working or not.
Yeah.
So it has some loopholes, but over the period of time when it was tested, we now know the flaws in that. But now we cannot say that when the system came into existence.
No, I was not criticizing the system. All I was saying was that all religions have a system of dropping the baggage, and there is merit in that.
Right.
Merit in that knowledge. Now, in this case, this knowledge is at the very extreme limit, the illumination, the realization, if you will. So, but the end result is drop the baggage. Like, this is, in a way, you can say this is kind of another encouragement for 35th, because this is where you will see, and this is how you will see. So the whole idea is drop the baggage. I mean, in the
Drop,
simplest
drop
terms,
the bag.
and
And
the knowledge will
this is
help
a
you.
self-help actually. This is a
Correct.
self-help. You do not need
Correct.
anybody else to do this
Correct.
for you.
And the knowledge will help you in dropping the baggage.
Yeah. The
And
knowledge actually, if the knowledge is clear and sharp, dropping will happen.
automatically.
Yeah, inevitably on its own.
Yeah. And equally, I may add that just like sinners, all your winnings are also.
Oh
Because
yeah,
people have like all your pious deeds.
yeah, yeah.
They are bigger burden.
Yeah. I mean, you might think that, oh, I might be able to drop all my baggages, like all the wrongdoings what I did in the past, but I want to hold on to all my accomplishments, all my achievements. No, no, sir, you cannot. Once you allow this knowledge to cut through you, it will take away all your accomplishments too. You will be dropping everything. You cannot hold on to it. It would not let you hold on to it.
Mhm. If it is letting you hold on to it that you can use as a litmus test, then this knowledge is not the one with capital K.
The knowledge is you did not really allowed it.
You do
You
not allow.
manipulated it. You sort of like used it. The ego has become the boss now. It is deciding, I'm going to use this knowledge for something and I'm not going to use this for the other things. I want to hold on to it because I see some benefits there. So that is the enhancement of ego. That is not a sublimation of the ego.
I think this 37 is more of an example of
Or
that.
as the blazing fire turns the fuel to ashes, Arjuna, even so the fire of knowledge turns all actions to ashes.
Good action, bad action, everything. So 37 is just an extension of 36 only.
Yeah, it is like a blazing fire. That is why it is trying to compare the real knowledge with the blazing fire. How the fire will turn the fuel to ashes. Knowledge is also like that. Whatever actions you are taking, you will not be able to take the credit. Even the good actions, you will not be able to take any credit. Those actions will be surrendered. Those actions will not be used as a fuel to fatten your ego. Those actions, you will act on certain things, you will take some action, and the result of it, you will not be taking a credit for that. You'll be just like, okay, my job was to take the action, my job was to act, and that's it. The act in itself is complete. Any question?
I think we have covered. We can stop at this, or we can
Yeah,
continue.
we can stop on 38 if you want.
Yeah.
In this world, there is no purifier as great as knowledge. He who has attained purity of heart through prolonged practice of karma yoga automatically sees the light of truth in the self in course of time. Now your favorite self has come.
Actually, I think that is a typo. There should also be small s only. The way you described it seems to be more like a small s. But I mean, it is semantics. You gave the, I mean, and then these translations are obviously not very accurate. They are approximate.
Oh yeah, I was listening to the videos like I uploaded on YouTube, right? Our videos, and I found that there was one verse where I said that, okay, I'm not very clear on that. And I went back to that.
Yeah.
I went back to that book. I went back to that verse again
Okay.
and I looked at it.
Mhm.
And when I was looking at it, like I just closed my eyes and I was reading it, I immediately saw the translation problem there.
Mm.
I said, oh, because when I was reading it in English, it was not making much sense to me. But then I read the Sanskrit part.
Mm.
And I was like, no, that doesn't mean this. The translation is flawed.
Mhm.
That's why I was not able to get it totally. I was
Mhm.
like, oh man. When I read the Sanskrit part, focused on the Sanskrit part, then that verse just opened up for me. I was like, oh, it means something like this. Maybe the next time we will go back to that verse and revisit.
Sure, sure. We
Yeah.
can do it.
I remember it was chapter 3, verse number 27, something like that.
We can go back to that.
Yeah.
Basically, 38 for me, the only thing is, the only two words that stand out is that continue on the path. Don't give up.
Hmm.
It's a long path. Keep working at it. As you said, that keep peeling the layers of onion. Not worrying about what lies at the core. That's final thing we'll worry about. Let the final breath of your life
Yeah.
in this body take
Not
care of
even,
that final thing.
don't even be worried about that, whether that final thing will come or not, or this or that. The good thing is that each day you spend with this knowledge, each day you live with this knowledge, you will be cutting lot of darkness within you. And that itself is a great achievement, right? I mean, each day you will be moving towards being less miserable. Is that a less achievement? That itself uh, is a great achievement.
Absolutely.
Why you have to worry about the end result, whether that spotless mind is going to come, whether that pure consciousness is going to arise, whether I would ever see that thing. No, don't have to worry about that.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. What was Acharya telling me that the other day? He was saying that even you ask the same question
Without the comma change.
without a comma change in each
Keep
of
asking
the
it.
new satsang, each of the new session, same question. What you asked the last time, you ask again in the next one and the next one. Still you will get benefited because the response is always going to be something new. So, and I have seen this many times. People have asked same questions, almost the same question.
Yeah,
And
even Anupji actually was asking the same question that he asked at the time when I was there, that Kundanji said that this idol worship is meaningless. At that was the question. That was the question of December 2019.
Kundanji was not. See, Kundanji's response to Anupji's wife was different.
Yeah,
And
true
Anupji, the response was different because
that. Yeah, but
Anupji is on a little different level than
correct,
his wife.
correct. But
So,
the question was the same. Or
yeah,
it might
yeah.
question was the same. Idol worship.
He was expecting Anupji to move a little upward now from the idol worship. And Anupji is trying to say the same thing, that he understands is on a mental level, that the idol worship is kind of a very low form of devotion.
Yeah.
But when it comes to executing it in the life, when it comes to act on that knowledge, he finds it very difficult. He finds it very difficult in a sense that he cannot just pass by the idol without his head bowing down.
No. what I have done in my case is I still do the bow, my head bows down and everything. Goenka ji's Vipassana center. So there is some Goenka ji's video on that. I good that comes out. I probably will forward that in hour-long discourse. And he said that, see, Murti Puja, the idol worship in Hindus, it started. There was a reason behind it. They were all symbols. This was symbolism. For example, Lord Shiva having snakes around the neck, and then there is Chandrama, this moon on the head, is symbolically they are saying that when the dangers are right around you. I mean, a snake around your neck is the most dangerous situation that you can have. And still, Lord Shiva is having the head cool, because Ganga means cool. So somebody who is cool in spite of danger right next to him. That is a symbolism. And that way it is all symbolic. Hindu idol worship is really symbolism. So
people have forgotten the symbolic meaning, and now they are holding on to the images.
Correct.
And
correct. So when I bow down now, I do bow down, but I don't bow down to idol, but I bow down to what it stands for.
Yeah.
That way I am not out of idol worship, but I am rather to the real meaning of idol worship. Like when you look at a symbol, swastika, Nazi, whatever. I mean, symbol is, see, a picture is 1,000 words, and a symbol is 1,000 pictures. So these are those symbols we are talking about. They are symbolic of something
deeper.
Far deeper. Yeah,
something deeper, something beyond.
Absolutely.
It's talking about.
Yeah.
But people are just caught up with the face value.
Yeah.
Just.
Yeah. So my way of going beyond that is actually transforming in me what it stands for.
That's really good way to associate with. I was never a big fan of statues, so I could never got myself attached to any. So that's why that particular thing. I mean, the bowing down is more like a motion for me. It was just like, and many times I have skipped it also. That it didn't really, because it would not leave any trace of guilt or anything for me, because I probably used to think, or maybe still I don't give much importance to it. So it never left me with any guilt or anything. And it is still it is the same thing for me. But I totally get that. Like when you are saying about, like, if somebody wants to free his mind from the idol as such, they need to dig deeper into the meaning.
Go what it is really.
What it stands for.
What it stands for. Yeah.
And then you are bowing down to that. That is that's a real thing.
That is perfect, because if you are bowing down to the quality.
Right. Then you are not just mechanically doing something.
Yeah. Because then it is a useful thing. It's a reminder.
It's a reminder. That idol is actually working as a reminder to you.
Exactly. Like Acharya ji had that yellow ball with a question mark. That he was talking about.
Right.
Okay.
All right. So
please stop here.
What we have, I think we have almost we started half an hour before, right? So already 1.5 hours.
1.5 hours. Yeah.
Okay. So we can take a break here, and we have one more week.
Yeah, we have. Yeah.
Maybe 2 weeks, because I think the first week when I'll be going to India, I still will be with my family. I won't be much busy, so I think we'll work out some time there.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Have a good night.
Thank you. You too. Sehat Nisa.
Bye.
Bye.